And this. Now, are the Chinese overreacting to perceived racist comments and jokes on U.S. television? A Chinese-American group created a stir when comedian Jimmy Kimmel ran that skit on his show, you remember? Featuring a boy who said they should kill all the Chinese. Now comes a political pundit who uttered what is arguably a racist term. The Chinese community in the U.S. are demanding Fox News fire host Bob Beckel and for an apology. This after what the community calls Beckel's discriminatory comment about Chinese people on the 4th of July. During his program, The Five, Beckel, discussing a report on Chinese hacking into government records, said, and I quote, "The Chinese are the single biggest threat to the national security of the U.S. They have been, they will be, and they can wait. They're very patient. Do they know what we just did? As usual, we bring them over here and teach a bunch of Chinamen, Chinese people, how to do computers, and then they go back to China and hack us." California State Senator Ted Lieu called on Beckel to resign immediately. This is not the first time that a U.S. TV host has made alleged offensive comments about the Chinese. In October, ABC host Jimmy Kimmel apologized for airing a clip of a child who suggested that killing everyone in China could be a solution to the U.S. debt problem. Now, you know what? U.S. TV hosts have been heard making jokes and comments about several other races and nationalities, and as far as I know, there have been mixed results. Some have resigned or been fired, some haven't. But is this problem more a cultural and language difference than anything else? Well, let's see what ChinaNews.com has to say. There are three kinds of attitudes among Chinese society towards alleged slurs against Chinese. The first type is holding a serious attitude. People with this attitude think those are huge events, and those events prove that racism still exists in the U.S. The second type holds a more moderate attitude. People with this attitude also think discrimination in the U.S. still exists, but that protests should be conducted in a more civil manner. Otherwise, it would affect the image of the Chinese people. The third type is more relaxed. People with this attitude think American media's attitude is excessive, but also meaningless. That's because they're not aimed directly at China. So, who are these Chinese who protest at the drop of a hat? Sina.com explains. Studies show that the Chinese people who take part in the protests are usually those who are young or not very well educated. They also show that mainland Chinese who are more left-leaning harbor greater anti-American feelings. The different attitudes in China towards Americans shows the country's population has become very diverse. That's why the Chinese find it very awkward dealing with American politics and race issues. Finally, People.cn believes the jokes and comments about the Chinese on U.S. TV reflects growing insecurity towards China. China and Western countries once enjoyed a honeymoon period. Some industries in developed countries needed to be transferred, and China was willing to be the world's factory. Both sides benefited. But China has gained more confidence since then because the Chinese economy has rapidly strengthened, and the Chinese people know more about the West. China is the West's status and values, and that's the reason why the West is creating obstacles for China. Anyway, that's today's national news. But when we return, around the world, a look at China's global footprint. Please stay with us.